Hi there. You are listening to A Founder's Life, and I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. My guests and myself share our entrepreneurial journey and our methods for a balanced life. I'm joined here today by Eric Rozenberg. Eric, thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Leo. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm a Belgian-born American entrepreneur. I've been in the meetings and event industry for as long as I can remember. I'm a business builder. Today, I'm helping event business owners to manage their business better and grow their business. And most importantly, I have the pleasure of being the father, thanks to my lovely wife, to three amazing daughters. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, talk about that. How old are your daughters now?
22, 19, and almost 15.
Great ages.
Yes.
So you'll be an empty nester soon.
No.
I'm sure that whether you're an empty nester or not, I'm sure the girls will always be in your life and speaking to you regularly.
That's my hope. This is the case today. So that's great. Yeah, we're speaking with them every day. But the concept of being empty nester, I know some friends are looking forward to it. I don't. And even with the second one going to college, it was as hard as the first one. And so I don't get used to it. But, this life, we give them roots and wings. And when they fly, when they start flying, we're very happy and very sad at the same time.
I get that. Personally, I quite like the idea that I'm an empty nester now. I'm traveling more and I still see my kids all the time. I speak to my daughter, my older one, almost every day. Wherever I am in the world, that won't change. And you've been, how long have you been in the US now?
Since 2013. We moved in 2013 from Belgium. And then I was approved for extraordinary ability, EB1 visa, and then had the green card, and then applied for citizenship and became an American citizen over 2-3 years ago. And was the first time. We won't go into the details of that, but the principle is that for the first time, I was able to vote for president in the United States in the election. So it's I have done the full citizenship.
I've not done the citizenship, although I have the same green card. And I always say to people, my extraordinary ability is how to write a story good enough that the immigration authorities accepted it.
Knowing you're absolutely the type of people that they want to have in these countries.
Obviously, you as well. And have you just written the one book, or have you written any other book?
I actually wrote 2 books. I wrote a book, excuse me, in 2016 called Meeting at Sea Level, the letter C, which is basically the methodology that my business partner in Belgium, Georgiana, and myself had developed to help organizations to align face-to-face meeting with their strategy. And so I had written a book about that. And then 2 years ago, I wrote a book called Before It's Too Late, a love letter to my daughters in America, which is why and how we left Belgium and came to America. And that's probably, if we were talking about legacy, that's the most important book that I've written so far. And it's definitely my legacy. So I was imagining writing it that not only my daughters, but the next generation will read it. So that's the concept of the book.
I've read it. Well, I've listened to it. I listened to a lot of books.
Thank you.
I seem to remember it was in your voice.
It actually is my voice. Funny enough, I had a friend that I asked him, do you think I should record myself? Because with my accent, people will not understand. And he looked at me, he went, oh, I thought it was a legacy project. I say, okay, thank you very much. End of conversation. But in true fashion, it took me probably 3 times more than anyone else who's English native to record it, because I wanted to be as perfect as possible. And for instance, the word development, which I'm pronouncing correctly now, but I would say development and not development. And so the sound engineer was like, huh? And I asked him, please interrupt me every time you're not sure about what I said, because whatever I say, people will be listening, they will stop, but I will already be 2 sentences down the road, and that's definitely not the goal.
I love that. I think it's it's a great project we've done. I think you're right. By doing it in your voice, as really this is a letter to your daughters, and as you said, to their children, doing your voice is a pretty special way of doing that.
Thank you.
Talk about sort of your work and sort of both what you're doing now, including your new consultancy business, or you probably wouldn't describe it as that, but your new business, and sort of some of your background on you've obviously been in the event business forever, but your background on how you got to where you are now.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for asking that. So I study business in Belgium. I work in finance, develop a marketing department of stockbroker company, met a couple on holidays that are telling me about incentive trips. And that's how I discovered the industry. And so I had a partnership with them for 10 months. Sometimes, as it was my case, you realize that when you're in partnership with people, even if one person is great and the other person is not, you don't share the same values, you better not stay. And so I decided to leave. And I thought, you know what? Instead of trying to do it for somebody else, I'm going to start my own business. And so for 20 years, I had a corporate events agency in Belgium and worked for companies like McKinsey, J&J, Café de Colombia, Sony Music, the different industries, planning sales meeting, product launch, incentive trips in over 50 countries in the world. Loved it, grew it, sold it. And then when we moved to the US, I didn't want to plan meetings anymore. I didn't want to travel that much. I had also the opportunity in 2010 to chair the International Board of Directors of Meeting Professional International, MPI, which is the largest organization in the industry. And so all of this together was a wonderful, amazing, and unique experience. But I thought, okay, need to do something else. Started consultancy in the industry with a friend, exited the business 2 years later, and then opened the US and Latin America for a SaaS company, which is a ticketing platform using blockchain that have an amazing client like FIFA, like Champions League. And I exited that 2 years ago. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to look to acquire small business, and then put a team together, start looking for it, didn't find something that I was really passionate about. And then I started working with a differentiation coach, Mark Levy, who helped Simon Sinek when Simon started with his business. And end of last year, he said, so you like building business? I said, yes. You've started some, developed some, and exited some business? I said, yes. You like coaching people? Because I'm also a coach for EO Accelerator, Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator Program. I said, yes. And then he said, who has this background in your industry and does that? And I went like, huh. And so long story short, I've developed the first platform for the meetings and event industry, which is really focused on business owners and helping them manage their business better, grow their business better. And basically, most of the small business owners are from solopreneur to small business. They're alone. They're overwhelmed. They don't have a vision for the next 10 years. And the most frustrating thing is that they're going from one project to another, almost running like a chicken with no heads, which is exactly what I did at the beginning when I started my first business. And so everything I wish I would have known when I started and everything I've learned along the way, I put it into a curriculum. So I'm having groups, I'm coaching people, and I'm having this community of business owners specifically in our industry that I'm helping.
And for that community, you've got, has it launched now? Has it formally kicked off?
It's launched. It's called, the website is eventbusinessformula.com. So I have a program where basically for 6 months, we spend the first 12 weeks going from one content session to another. They review the entire business, and then the next 12 weeks to work on implementation and execution. So they completely change the way they approach their business. They completely change their entire approach. They start working on their business and really building a business. And I also have a podcast called The Business of Meetings with over 250 episodes. And so I bring different specialists, different experts. Obviously, it's my expertise and what I've learned, but it's not only what I've done. It's the network that I've built. So I bring people that can help them on specific topics. whether it's how do you arrange your finance, what are the key numbers you should be looking at, how do you use AI in your business. So everything that is related to managing and growing your event business, that's the focus. And so plus I love reading. I'm going to different conference. Everything I learn, I keep sharing it and creating this community where also people help each other. So I love it. I'm passionate about this industry. I'm passionate about helping people, and I found a way to leverage that and building my own business.
And is that your full-time job now?
Yeah,
That community?
absolutely. 150% of my time.
A typical entrepreneur. Nothing's ever
Yeah,
on.
well, listen. Yeah. But what would they say? An entrepreneur is somebody who's gonna wants to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for somebody else, right? But it's not. I know you're focusing as well on. I would not call it work-life balance, but work-life integration. And it's not that I don't see the hours. I work by objectives, but it's really I enjoy what I'm doing. Always thinking, should I be the one doing this, or could somebody else do it in the team? And make sure that I block time for reading, that I block time for myself, and more importantly, that for me, that I block time to spend with my family, to do sports. So it's really the whole package, which is why you and I would never fit into any large organization, and we need to be our own boss.
Oh, I'd be a horrible employee. What? And what you talked about blocking time, I often say to people is really the key to it, which is we can always get stuck into whatever it is we're in the middle of. So, you need to block out that time. Like next week, my son is in town, and I have every afternoon blocked out in my schedule so that I know that I'm there to spend the time with my son. And if I don't do that, then my schedule will get very full. I've blocked it out in advance. And what do you like to do for health in whatever form that takes for you, whether that be fitness, nutrition, etc.?
So first thing first is I started over a year ago to finally lose weight, although I've been going up and down. But as I said, I didn't become fat overnight, so it takes time. But I've been doing, first of all, going to specialist doctors. I have a quarterly blood test. Besides different sort of peptide, I've also used some vitamins. I'm playing pickleball. I'm doing Krav Maga with my daughter. I'm walking on a regular basis. I have this vest with weight that I'm wearing, and I try. That's the toughest for me, honestly. It's to sleep enough. I know that sleeping is part of health and balance, and that's probably the most difficult thing for me is to stop and to go to sleep. But yeah, I've been doing that consistently. In the past, I've done programs like 75 Hard, and I did it until the end. And now it's really changing completely the habit. And one thing that works very well for me as well is intermittent fasting. So that's also something that I've been doing. I don't even remember when I started. Less than a year ago, but I don't remember when I started. It's just become a habit.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in intermittent fasting. At its core, though, I think for me, the problem with something like a 75 Hard is you're all in until you're not. So like our health app, my daughter is a co-founder on a health app, which I'm launching on the 1st of January. And, it's about healthy habits, because nothing needs to be every day. You don't need to eat perfectly every day. You don't need to intermittent fast every day. You don't need, it's about creating habits, whether that be twice a week, 5 times a week, whatever it is that you need that's achievable. As you said, you didn't put weight on in a day or two. You're not going to lose weight. You're not going to get healthy in a day or two. It's about how can you build habits that will stick with you long term.
Absolutely. What is exactly what you're doing with your daughter, the app? I know you're launching the app, but how can somebody like me use the app, for instance?
It's going to be fun, actually. I'm really excited to launch it. So it's soft launching 1st of Jan. It'll be available to download in the app stores. And at its core, we've got AI. We've been building AI for a long time. But it does everything. Like we've got modules for intermittent fasting or nutrition tracking, planning, so suggesting meals. We track sleep because sleep is actually one of the most important things. If you're not getting sleep, then your body's not recovering. We're tracking fitness, and we're taking all of this data. We're helping you set goals that are achievable, healthy habits. And then, we're helping you on that path in whatever form that takes. Our typical users, especially initially, will be, I'm going to call them average Joes, sort of typical people. We are also, the first few months, we will also be building more advanced functionality where athletes, where someone like me, which I would now call myself an athlete, I don't think I would have in the past, will be able to really look at trends. So if I look at it, my sleep is tracked, my fitness is tracked, my nutrition, my intermittent fasting is tracked, but there's nothing that's really looking at my trends and telling me, well, why did you have a fantastic workout yesterday, a fantastic run? Well, why was it not very good today? There's nothing out there right now that can really look for trends and analyze the data. So we will also be looking at doing that as well. So there's sort of two sides to it. We also will have live coaching available across nutrition and fitness as well. I'm excited. It's going to be fun to get it going.
That's brilliant.
It's got a lot of potential. Who knows where it'll go?
Yeah.
No,
I like the fact you're looking at trends to explain why one day was great and not the others. That is indeed something that I don't see where you can find that today.
Yeah, and so what do you like to do for fun?
I like to do for fun. But first of all, I like to read. I'm reading a lot. And the problem I have is that somebody telling me about a book, I just bought the book. I buy the book. And then I have piles of books here and there. I like spending time with the family, like spending time with friends, like traveling. But on a regular basis, I would do for fun. It's basically doing some sports, doing some pickleball and tennis. I love sit on the porch, on the patio, and smoke a cigar and discuss geopolitics with friends. And I love that. I'm reading a lot about that as well. Yeah, and it's just I think enjoying the fact that we live in an amazing environment. We live in an amazing country, that we're healthy, and being grateful for that. That's what I do for fun.
You live in a place where you can sit on the porch at least 11 months of the year.
Exactly. When I say to my friends back in Belgium, when they say, they're talking about where we live here, I said, you know what we do here in Florida when we're cold? And they say, no, we open the door and we just walk outside.
That's good. It's funny, actually. We're similar here. We've got an old house that, especially during the day, the house may be cold, but you walk outside and the sun is shining.
Exactly.
Now, this is a question for you. Can you stop working, or are you always on?
I can't stop. I do. When I'm in something, I'm very focused. Or when I'm going to be in the discussion, I'm not going to see the time passing. Or I'm going to be watching a movie or a series on TV. I'm going to be focused on that. And I also love working. And it's not working. I makes me wake up in the morning when I'm getting me excited. Obviously, the meetings and event industry is the greatest in the world because it's all about people. Every time I hear someone that said, I'm retired. And then I ask what they do, and they do so many things. I say, no, you are And I realized that, interestingly enough, the common thread with all the people that have sold a business, at least one business in their life, if not more, is the fact that we go through some sort of depression after having sold the business. And why? It's because you miss the purpose. So it's not that I want to be on all the time. It's not that I want to be working from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. And I know that I will never retire. I want to have always a project and developing things and challenging things. That's, I think, what keeps me going, and I think that's the same definitely for any founder, but for people in general and in life. There's too many examples of people that stop working, or because they reach the age of retirement, and they're not very active anymore, and they die. They don't have a purpose.
Yeah, I think it's good to keep the mind active, and retirement sounds really boring. I would like to work a few less hours. That to me is retirement. To me is having a good enough team that you can move to a more strategic role rather than being involved in everything. But actual retirement, yeah, that sounds boring.
Exactly.
And I can certainly, you've talked about a few today already, so I can certainly guess a few. But what would you say some pivotal moments in your life has been, whether personal or business?
Mm. Yeah, there's been quite a few. I'm always looking at three elements. The first one is, do I enjoy working with the people I'm working with? Do I respect them? Do they respect me? Do I enjoy the working with people then? Second is, are we making a difference? Are we changing things? Are we improving things in what we're doing in the industry and the business we're having? And the third one, am I fairly compensated? And if one is missing, I'm not happy. And if two are missing, I'm gone. And so the pivotal moment, there's been several, but it's always going back to, first of all, trusting my guts, my intuition, but also looking at those three elements. And the rest is, I do believe in serendipity. And my first job, I met a guy who owns a stockbroker company at a barbecue. My second professional endeavor is I met a couple at the ski holidays. So, you never know what's going to happen. But and then it's also, especially when we decide to leave Belgium and come to America, it's obviously a very important pivotal moment, but it's facing the facts and it's connecting the dots and then making a decision. And whatever the topic, whatever the decision you're reaching, I believe that it's very sad if you reach a certain decision and you don't act on it. And so that's what we did when my wife and I decided to move. And I remember at that time people telling me that we were exaggerating, that we were nuts, and I said, you know what? You do you, I do me. I'm not trying to convince you. And because I'm convinced of the reason and why we should do it, I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to restart everything. And that's what we did. Never regretted 1 second. I must say that even those who were very critical at that time among my friends are telling us now that we left on time. But that's, those pivotal moments, it's what you can control and what you cannot control. What you cannot control, it's hard. It might be extremely sad, frustrating, whatever it might be with the situation. And what you want is to focus on what you can control and going one step after the other. As Winston Churchill would say, if you go through hell, keep walking, but always look for the solution. So there are pivotal moments that can be very hard. There are pivotal moments that can be very, great, like becoming a father the 3 times. It's phenomenal. And so it's really life. It's part of life.
So I think what you said makes sense, which if I paraphrase a little, it's really, what one of those entrepreneurial skill sets is take a decision, act on it, don't look back. You've decided that's the right course. That is the right course. Doesn't mean you won't change your mind later and do something different. That's the course right in the moment.
Absolutely. And that's what I think is lacking a lot these days, is people are actually have the courage to take a decision, to be leader. You will make mistakes, sure. And at that moment, I think that the greatest example of leadership is to come back and say, you know what, I made a mistake. I took the decision. It was not the wrong decision. I acknowledge that. Let's correct the course. But at least a decision is made. And I realize that for many, many, many people, and for those of us who have teams and people working with us, what people need is some sort of clarity and some sort of direction. And as a leader, you need to provide that, at least to be present, to communicate. Remember several examples of friends that are leading mega groups during the pandemic. It's not that they knew what was going to happen. It's not that they knew when the thing will be over. It is that they were present with their team. They were communicating with their team. They were supporting their team, and they were being transparent. And that's I think, is also very important.
And I know you don't like this term, so you're welcome to phrase it in your way. But how does a balanced life look for you? And what I mean by that is, I don't mean in perfect balance, because nothing is ever in perfect balance. I think, it's looking for that center line. At some points, work is going to take all your focus. At other points, family takes all focus. But it's how does that overall balance look for you, or whatever word you want to use to describe the equivalent?
Yeah, it's the way you describe it, I totally relate to it. It's when I hear work-life balance that I'm it's more integration for me than anything. It comes back, first of all, is just to have taken the time in the past to think about what is important for you, and to try to have a long-term view of what you want your life to be. And when you have that like long-term vision, you look 10 years down the road, what it's gonna be. Then yes, some moment works is takes more of your time. Other time is the family or somebody who you have to take care of. Sure, but it's always going back to why you're doing that, and is it in line in the long-term view that you have. And by the way, having this view of long-term is also helpful when you have to face challenges, because you can remain focused on that. But to me, it's having an impact on, the story of the guy who wanted to change the world, and he tried and didn't succeed. And so he said, I'm going to change my country. He tried, didn't succeed. Oh, I'm going to change my city. Tried, didn't succeed. I'm going to change my family. Tried, didn't succeed. And finally he said, you know what? I'm going to try to change myself. And that's when change really happened. So having an idea where you want to go, and then always going back to it, that's to me the balance that you're talking about. And one thing you said about speaking with the children, that's part of my long-term goal, is that every day I'm in touch with my children, whether it's through email or a FaceTime or ideally in person, but that every day that there's a touch point with them.
There's nothing more important.
Agree.
And is there anything else that you'd like to share today?
And we can discuss about so many different topics, but yeah, it's probably my favorite quote, which is linked to everything we just said. It's from Rabbi Hillel. It said, if I'm not for myself, who will? If I'm not for the others, what am I worth? And if not now, when? And that's, I think, summarize what I believe in general in life and what I try to do every day.
And again, something you could definitely say is an entrepreneurial skill set.
That's true. Absolutely.
And how can people find you?
Sure. So the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. So it's Eric with a C and Rozenberg, Rozenberg. And then it's the podcast, The Business of Meetings, or it's through the website, eventbusinessformula.com.
Thank you. I appreciate you joining today.
Thank you very much, Leo. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
And thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, tell your friends, and leave a review.